Hey everyone, I know that with our annual chemo checkoffs, we talked about how to administer PEG. It's come to our attention at the clinic they do it slightly different. And while what we taught you was not wrong, for the purpose of being consistent across the board, both inpatient and outpatient, we wanted to show you this way to connect the PEG for PEG or Cal asparaginase. So you'll notice that we have our PEG here, and our person here, Jane, Joe, whoever you want to call them, and you'll notice we have them connected with, of course, our chemo connections. And you'll notice that we have the PEG as the primary connected directly to them. Remember that with PEG, it is primed all the way to the end already, so you do not have to prime it. Some other things, in case you don't remember from the chemo class, big thing we watched for with asparaginase is allergic reaction. So make sure before you set all this up that you have your crash cart outside the room, that you have your emergency meds ready and pulled up in case you need them. Hopefully you don't, but you want to make sure you're ready to go if something happens. Also make sure you've educated your family. All those things that we've talked about in the chemo class as well as in the annual checkoff, please make sure you've checked those boxes and that you've done all those things beforehand. So as far as the actual setup of the line, so you see that we have our PEG, which is the primary line and connected directly to the patient. What we want to show you that's slightly different is that in this case, we're going to have a saline line Y-sided into the PEG line. Keep in mind that your saline line, your bag of saline I mean, will be a little bit bigger. The reason we are doing this is instead of having, as we previously taught, a separate saline line ready to go in case of emergency, this way it's already connected to the patient. And if we have to in an emergency, immediately stop and pull some blood off of them or pull the asparaginase off of them, we already have a saline line ready to go for emergency meds, bolus, anything like that, okay? So I wanted to show you firsthand how we would set up the stopcock. So the nearest Y site to the patient on the PEG line, you're going to want to make sure that you have, I would be cleaning, of course, 30 seconds. So there's your PEG line right now, okay? And then to this top part right here, you're going to have your clave and an empty 10 cc syringe. Again, hopefully you don't need this, but this is there in case you need to, in an emergency, very quickly pull the asparaginase out of them. This right here is where you are going to connect your saline line. Now the way the stopcock works, the red is what is not connected. So you'll notice that, again, we hope we don't need it, but you'll notice that the red is blocking this part right here. So what do you do if you do have a reaction? So if you do have a reaction, remember this is your PEG. If you do have a reaction, you're going to want to immediately clamp your PEG line because you don't want that PEG running anymore. And you are going to flip this and you're going to want to pull back as much as you can off of the patient, okay? This includes not only to get the asparaginase out of the line, but sometimes they do want some asparaginase labs that you can draw at the same time. Now, after you've drawn off whatever you're going to draw off, remember that this is saline. So you can then utilize this section, open it up to the saline, and you can run a bolus, you can run whatever you need to through this line. You can also, at that time, use this to connect any medicines if you have to in an emergent situation. So we just wanted to show you the process of how to set it up and what you would use. Again, what we showed you before is not wrong, but this saves a few seconds and also for consistency across the board. If you guys have any questions, of course, reach out to myself or Brandy. And if you need us, you know where to find us. Thanks.